An unexpected encounter that changed everything. It was a cold, misty morning in the city, and billionaire entrepreneur Ryan Callahan was stuck in traffic, his luxury SUV idling on a narrow street far from his usual route. His driver had taken a detour due to a protest downtown, and now they were inching past an alley he'd never noticed before. As Ryan sipped his imported espresso and glanced at his phone, something caught his eye, just beyond the fog and the row of dumpsters. A man was crouched beside a folding table, handing out steaming bowls of food to a group of homeless people. Kids, elderly women, war veterans, dozens of them stood in line, smiling gratefully as they received a hot meal. But it wasn't the act that stunned Ryan. It was who was doing it. "Stop the car," he said suddenly. His driver hesitated. "Sir?" "I said stop the car." Ryan jumped out and walked toward the man, who looked leaner, older, and rough around the edges. His hoodie was worn, hands weathered. But Ryan recognized that face. It was Marcus Evans, his childhood best friend. The same boy he used to sneak out of class with. The same guy who had defended him from bullies, who'd dreamed of building a company with him one day. They hadn't spoken in over 15 years. Ryan couldn't believe his eyes. Marcus, once a top tech mind at Stanford, was now out here feeding the hungry on the streets. Why? What had happened to him? And more importantly, why hadn't Marcus ever reached out? With a racing heart and 1,000 questions, Ryan stepped closer and said softly, "Marcus, is that you?" Marcus looked up, stunned. And what he said next would start a chain of events that would change both of their lives forever. Marcus wiped his hands on a towel, clearly shocked to see Ryan standing in front of him in an expensive suit and polished shoes, looking like he'd walked out of a Forbes cover shoot. "Ryan?" he said, blinking. "Wow, I didn't expect to ever see you here." Ryan gave him a long, searching look before stepping forward and pulling Marcus into a hug. "Man, what happened? You were supposed to take over Silicon Valley, not—" He paused, glancing at the line of people still waiting patiently for food. "I am taking over?" Marcus chuckled softly, just not in the way either of us imagined. Ryan stayed to help Marcus distribute the rest of the meals. He watched the kids' eyes light up as Marcus handed out juice boxes and sandwiches. There was something different about his friend. Not the carefree, ambitious tech genius he once knew, but someone fuller, calmer, purpose-driven. Later, as the crowd thinned, Ryan and Marcus sat on 2 crates near the back of the alley, steam rising from their cups of donated soup. Marcus finally spoke. "I walked away from the corporate world 5 years ago. Couldn't take the pressure, the greed. My mom passed, and I realized I'd spent more time chasing money than meaning. I cashed out, gave most of it away, and started this." "You gave it away?" Ryan asked, stunned. "All except enough to live simply. I didn't want to be rich anymore. I wanted to matter." Ryan was quiet for a moment, digesting the words. "I always envied your heart," he said eventually. "Even in college, you were the one who actually cared. I kept climbing, Marcus. But somewhere along the way, I stopped feeling anything." Marcus looked at him with a gentle smile. "Then maybe this is exactly where you were meant to be today." Ryan didn't know what he expected to find in that alley. But it wasn't this. The reunion, the raw honesty, the reminder that sometimes the richest people are the ones who give the most without asking for anything back. Little did he know, Marcus was about to teach him the greatest lesson of his life. Ryan couldn't sleep that night. He sat in his penthouse suite, overlooking the glowing skyline, but his heart felt strangely empty. The food had no taste. The silence was loud. He kept thinking about the kids smiling as Marcus handed them warm meals, the way he listened to their stories, how they clung to his presence like a lifeline. All this money, Ryan thought, and I've never made anyone feel that way. The next morning, he canceled all his meetings and returned to the same alley. Marcus was already there, preparing trays and sorting donations. He didn't look surprised to see Ryan. "Back already?" he asked, amused. "I want to help," Ryan said, "but not just for today. I want to know how to really do this." And so, Ryan started showing up daily. Quiet at first, learning how things worked, listening more than speaking. He helped distribute food, clean up, organize supplies, and even talked to the local vendors about donating leftover produce. People didn't recognize him as the CEO of one of the biggest startups in the country. They saw him as just another volunteer. Over time, something changed. Ryan smiled more. He laughed with the kids. He stopped checking his phone every 5 minutes. He started feeling again. One afternoon, as they packed up, Marcus turned to him. "You know," he said, "you could just write a big check and walk away." Ryan shook his head, eyes soft. "This isn't about money anymore. It's about purpose. You gave me back something I didn't even know I'd lost." But Marcus had one more surprise. He opened a worn envelope and handed it to Ryan. Inside was a list, a plan to expand the soup kitchen into a full community center. "I dreamed of doing this," Marcus said, "but I didn't have the resources." Ryan looked at him, then at the plans, then back at his friend. A new fire lit up inside him. "We're going to build this," he said. "Together." And for the first time in years, Ryan felt more alive than ever. Within months, the plan to transform the soup kitchen into a full-fledged community center was in motion. Ryan used his influence and network to gather donations, rally investors, and cut through red tape. But he refused to let it become a sterile corporate project. This wasn't about tax write-offs or media coverage. It was personal. He and Marcus met with local families, listened to their needs, and shaped the center around them. It would offer free meals, healthcare checkups, a reading corner for kids, and even job training sessions. Marcus remained the heart of the operation, while Ryan became its backbone. The grand opening was emotional. Children ran through the new play area. Mothers cried as doctors offered free checkups, and in the middle of it all stood Marcus and Ryan. Best friends, bonded not by money or status, but by purpose. That night, a news outlet covered the event, praising the anonymous billionaire behind the center. Ryan didn't care that they got his name wrong. For the first time, recognition didn't matter. Later, as they sat on a bench outside the center, watching the warm glow from the windows, Marcus turned to him. "You know," he said, "if you had never walked down that alley." Ryan smiled. "I would have never found my way back." The billionaire who once chased profits now found peace in helping others, and his old friend, once overlooked by the world, became the spark that lit a fire in millions. Because sometimes the most life-changing investments are made not in companies, but in people.